Welcome to the podcast. My name is Chris Hall, and today we have the wonderful Amrita Anjani on the podcast. Welcome, Amrita Anjani.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Absolute pleasure. By way of introduction for the viewers, you are a soul purpose mentor, right? So that's all about doing business in a more soulful way. Now, you and I have actually had a coaching relationship, and you really helped me connect with what my purpose was and how I can authentically express myself as a business leader and use that to connect with my audience. So, I thought it'd be wonderful to have a chat today about how you help people achieve that, because a lot of people listening to this and watching this will either be in their own career themselves or be perhaps in their own business. And it's all relevant because one of the things I'm passionate about is that we spend 1/3 of our adult life at work.
Yes.
So we may as well do that in a more authentic way, in a way that's purposeful and mindful. So I'd love to glean that out of you today through this chat.
Great.
On your website, I noticed that you're all about having a life that's worth living. Now, I'm familiar with the phrase "a life worth living," but you're all about worth loving. Can you unpack that a little bit for me and tell me what that means?
Sure. I mean, most people go about their lives, and they're just really on autopilot. They do their work, they come home, they do whatever it is they do at home, they go to bed, they wake up and do the same thing. And there's no real meaning for them. There's no meaning in what they're doing every day. And sure, they're making money, but that's not the end game for a life that you are loving. To have a life that you love, it cannot be driven by just getting money and doing something that just gets you money. Now, of course, we all need money to live, and that's very important. But what I've experienced personally and with the people I work with is when you bring meaning into what you do, when you find the thing that you're passionate about and bring that into your business or bring it into your career, bring it into your life, your relationships, then everything is much easier because you wake up in the morning and you're impassioned to do that thing. And so that results in a life more lovable, more loving, where you want to get up in the day, you want to go to work, you want to run your business, and you feel buoyed by it and you're fed by it. So that's really what it's about.
I heard this wonderful snippet on a talk that I was listening to earlier today, and it was, passion is for you and purpose is how you use your passion to give to the world.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great quote.
It's an interesting way of thinking about it, isn't it? Yeah. So you're naturally passionate about the things you're passionate about, but then there's an alignment point, isn't there, of how you can share that. And that is part of perhaps the component of purpose, but there are many different dimensions to purpose. But do you resonate with that kind of way of looking at it?
Absolutely. Passion is a good indicator. How you feel about what you do in life is a good indicator whether you're aligned or not. And I talk about alignment, which then leads you to inspired action.
Yes.
And so if we're not in alignment with who we are, our authentic selves, and doing that every day, having an element of that every day, then we cannot take inspired action, and then we have to take effort. And then everything's effortful, and it's an effort to do life. It's an effort to get up in the morning, and it's like Monday-itis or Sunday night-itis. And I used to have that as a lawyer. I used to dread Monday mornings, and I would have that funny feeling in my tummy on a Sunday night, just dreading the week ahead. And, I hear people these days saying, oh, thank goodness it's Friday, or, oh, it's Monday. And I don't have that anymore. It's it's every day is a day, and every day there's something more joyful and more meaningful to come from it.
Every day is a gift.
Every day is totally a gift when you're aligned with who you are and what you're doing. And if not, it's a struggle. It really is. And people do struggle. And they can't get there by themselves. They need help from someone who's been where they've been and can show them the way.
Yeah. And so on the lawyer thing, you were a lawyer for 16 years doing multi-million-dollar deals, getting flown around the world, doing the high-profile thing, which is great. Yeah, it's like, oh, look at me, right? It's fantastic. It gives you all this background and knowledge. but was there a lack of meaning previously for you in that type of industry and role and what you were previously doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I always had this vision that, and a belief that if I became a lawyer or a doctor, that then I would find the meaning in life that I was searching for. I thought if I did a prestigious career, you know, if I had a prestigious career, then that would bring me the things that I was missing in life. And of course it didn't, because what was missing was me.
Yes.
And understanding what makes me tick, what I love, what my passions are, what my purpose is. And that is a journey in itself, you know, it's a real journey. And you have to kind of pull yourself out of the things that aren't aligned with who you are and just create some space in your life so that you can start to identify what it is you do like. So often I ask clients, you know, what do you want? What do you like? And I get these blank faces and they just say, I don't know.
Right.
Because people don't spend the time asking themselves. And that's one of the key, you know, first steps to living a life of purpose is asking yourself, what is it that you really want? So,
great.
and you know that, don't you?
I do.
Should know
I do.
more people.
100%, 100%. And one of the biggest shifts for me and what I heard in this as well was it's very common to have an attitude to life of, if I achieve this, then I'll be happy. One day I will be happy when I am prestigious because I'll then have money or I'll have a job title or whatever it is. So in coaching too, I ask the same question of what is it that you want? And they will come out with the answer. Why do you want that? And it's often in the question of why do you want that, you start unpeeling this authentic version of the person where you go, wait a minute, it's not about one day, then I'll be happy. It's, what's that? Let's carry on peeling. Let's uncover this thing, which is this passionate, authentic you. And how can you live that life, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then how can you make money out of that, which is really important, you know, how can you do what you love and get great success and earn really well out of it in a way that's less effortful. And that's what happens when you align more with your purpose. It's way less effortful, it's way more joyful. And it's like peeling the layers off people, you know, and they've spent so long in their lives putting the armory on, you know. When I worked as a lawyer, we were kind of taught, you know, that you have to put your game face on. And a lot of that happens in corporate. You know, put your game face on and don't show yourself. And it really doesn't do justice to anyone, you know, because you can't bring all of your gifts into what you do if you're doing that. And that's what I struggled with. And, you know, it's not to make law and being a lawyer wrong, not at all, because that is some people's purpose.
Absolutely.
And they find great joy in that.
Yes.
It just wasn't mine.
And that's a good distinction, actually, because in common culture, it can be, there are memes that fly around. And one of them might be, oh, I used to be in corporate and I just can't do corporate anymore. You know, like it's wrong to do so. Like, absolutely not. There's so many things that are, we mustn't think that it's wrong to do something that is perceived as typical law or a certain way. If it's you, just find it. Find a way to get to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And how do you get to you? Well, you have to take time out to ask.
Yes.
You know, who am I? What is it that I do want? And that's something that most people think is a luxury. They think it's a luxury, and it's really not. It's a necessity. You have to be doing this. You have to take time out for yourself. And I like to call it selfing rather than selfishness. It's selfing.
Nice.
And tuning in, dialing in. That's where all the answers are. They're in here. You know, which is why I say it's a life worth loving, because all the answers are here. In the heart, inside of us, in our internal landscape.
One of the things we've talked about before is the different levels of self as well. You've got literally everything from inner child, adult, parent concepts, the higher self, and it's all about that introspection, but a conversation to connect with your emotional side, your intellectual side, your spiritual side, if you are spiritually oriented. But not everyone is, and that's fine again. But understanding the different dimensions of oneself.
We are multifaceted. You know, we're very complicated and simple at the same time. That's the, you know, the irony and the dichotomy of life. And so it is important to be aware, first of all of those aspects of stuff, you know. And when you are, then you can get more conscious around what part of you is playing out in life. And is it a healthy part, or is it a wounded part that you need to look at and heal? And, you know, healing comes in many forms and varieties. And so whatever form or variety works for you, then do some of that, do more of that.
Does it also come in a life worth living? I feel also comes through action. So it's not just about this question of what should I be doing in terms of my profession, because people can get stuck on that's everything.
Yes.
It's also sometimes the action and the authenticity in the conversation with your partner, with your boss, with your colleague.
Yes.
Encouraging courageousness to take action, because that's often when you either hit a little boundary and a bit of feedback, or where you then believe in yourself more and your self-esteem is built up, and that's why you feel this love for oneself and the experience of life. So like what's your attitude on all of that? How do you bring it all together?
The biggest mistake people make when they're looking for clarity around their life purpose is this, that they think they have to do something different. So they go and look for a job, or they go and look for, you know, a relationship. Or if I just get a relationship, then I'll feel supported and then I'll be okay. And they look externally, they look outside of themselves. And the answer isn't there. The answer is internal. It's inside of themselves. So you have to dial in first and ask yourself lots of deep searching questions. Like you said, the why. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? What is my reason for this? Because that leads you to your purpose. And so it's who you be, not what you do. When you realize more of who you are meant to be, then you take the inspired action. So you have to be aligned first for you to take inspired action. And most people take action out of fear. It's fear-based, and they're just wrestling with, I need to make more money, or I need to find love, or I need to buy a house, or I need some external thing, and it's out of alignment. So the more we can practice getting into alignment by just stopping, breathing, meditating, chanting mantras, whatever it is for you, you know, being in nature, just take some time out from your busy full, stressed full life. To just breathe and get present, you know. And there's so many people teaching this, but you have to literally implement it.
You have to do it.
You can't just read a book and think it'll change. You have to implement it.
It's not mental.
No.
It's not mental, it's the doing. And especially in this day and age of multimedia. I know it's kind of ironic because we're doing a podcast that's going to get published on YouTube and iTunes, but like, you know, I honestly feel that we've got a connection anxiety, i.e. these things are so pretty. I just got the new iPhone. It's so pretty. It's addictive. And I think actually we've got, you know, it's kind of like we're in the 70s again and people are smoking on planes. We don't realise how much of a social problem we've got.
I so remember that.
Right? You know, and we think, oh, it's okay, people smoking on planes. Well, actually, it's not always that healthy that it's this, scrolly. It's a form of addiction. So I think technology has the power to inspire people, but as long as we create time for ourselves to indeed be mindful and remove some of the clutter, then it's really important in this day of connectivity and stimulation digitally to put some things down and take a walk.
It is so important. I mean, I cannot stress that. If you don't take anything else from this conversation, then go to flight mode every day for at least half an hour. You will save yourself so much stress, so much anxiety, and you know, you can clear your mind, you can get better focus, you can dial in. It's as I said before, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And if you're not doing that, then you have a serious problem that needs to be looked at.
And it's undiagnosed, right? Because I think there's also a generational shift, because I can remember at 18 getting my first mobile phone, I didn't know what a text message was. And I remember a few years before that, if I'd meet my friend at the cinema at 1 o'clock, guess what? You met them at 1 o'clock.
Exactly.
It was simple, and you'd ring the landline, you'd make a plan. Anyway, but enough of bagging out technology.
Yeah.
Now you help people in their individuality, also as a career thing, and also as business owners, right? To go and focus on business for a second, do you think there's a crisis of meaning in business?
I really do. I think that, and experientially, when I worked as a lawyer, there's this thing that happens in larger corporate organizations where people become like just another number, and they literally lose their humanness, their humanity. And I think it's great what corporates are doing now in bringing, that large corporate organizations are recognizing and realizing the need for wellness and well-being and bringing your whole self to work and all of that. And I think it's fabulous. And I think they're realizing that now, because of technology, because of, the fact that we are all reachable all of the time, constantly, there isn't that natural downtime that we used to have. And so it has deeply lost meaning, and meaning in terms of where does the individual sit in the organization, and what are their unique gifts that they can bring to the table, and often they get ignored. And often people are really just struggling. They're trying to survive, never mind thrive in a corporate organization. So I take my hat off to organizations that are bringing coaches in, mentors, to help their staff, take some time out, heal whatever it is they need to heal, what's going on at home in their relationships, because we all have struggles, right? That's what being human is about. And then being able to understand what their passion is, get more clarity around their purpose, like what they can bring into an organization or even into their business, if they're an entrepreneur. Because you can build a business and it can be really successful, but you can forget your heart. And I've gotten into that trap too in the past. So I left law and then I built a business and it became really successful. And I looked around and I thought, oh no, I did it again. I did it again. I got successful, but I forgot my heart. And so this is what happens even if people leave corporate. If they still do it in the same way, if they don't change anything about themselves, if they don't do any internal work, they will take the same situation and put it into their business. Or they will take the same self and go to a new job. And that's what happens. People are moving jobs expecting to find something different, but they take themselves with them.
Yeah, the world is literally a reflection of everything inside you.
It's the mirror.
Yes.
It's the mirror, and everyone around you is helping you realize what parts of you that you need to look at and work on.
Do you know, I think it's really valuable with the coaching relationship. And this is something you said to me, and I think it's so spot on. With the mirror metaphor and literal thing, you must show the mirror a little bit at a time. Because if you show it too quickly, it can be overwhelming for that personal transformational journey. And that's, I think, the value of basically a very emotionally intimate coaching relationship.
It's vital. Coach, mentor, teacher.
And that comes within as well, doesn't it? That could be within a business. It could be a great leader, manager, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. But we all need that help. And, if we have a mirror in a good relationship with a mentor or a business coach, then that will help us have the confidence and the courage. It's about courage, really, to take that leap of faith and look at what part of ourselves we need to change. We need to make little adjustments, here and there in our behaviors, in our mindset, with our emotional body, to put us back on track, on track to who we really are and our authentic selves.
Another thing that's present for me now is holistic. So holistic is very much the interconnected nature of all these different components of our life, right? So as you're talking to me now, it just only hammers home how much I believe in making it all connect together, because if we don't do that, then we're living a lie, right? You know, classically, work is work, and I must be professional. I must have my game face on. Personal life is personal life, and but actually they are interconnected, so much so. And there truly is no separation.
No, there isn't. And the real key is, you know, the winning strategy is bring all of yourself into everything that you do. So don't try to be someone you're not, you know. Be your true self with your friends, be your true self at work, be your true self at home, in your relationships, in your business, with your clients. You know, so often as a lawyer, I would put this personality on, because and you know why we do it, because we don't feel good enough. That's why we do it. We're scared that if I just be me, you know, well, I'm just this girl from Yorkshire, who am I to do this $10 billion, you know, company sale or IPO listing? Who am I? They're not going to trust me, so I have to pretend to be someone else so that they think I'm professional enough to do the job. And the irony is that it's only when we really are trusting of ourselves that we get the respect that we were so deeply yearning for. When we're loving ourselves, when we're appreciating ourselves, and we're aware of all of the parts of ourselves that need taking care of, our inner children, our spirit, you know, that soul part of ourselves, that bigger part of self, and our mental self, you know, and our emotional self, all those parts of self we need to really take care of.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
It's a paradox almost, you know. I want to get this, how do I get that? Well, actually, you need to flip it around and do you first.
Yeah, it's an inside job. That's what I tell people.
Yeah,
it's an inside job.
Yeah.
That's it. You know?
Exactly.
That's it.
So just rob a bank. Now, for those that are either in business, doesn't matter if it's your own, in whatever leadership role, what role does authenticity have to play in social media and the way you share this version of yourself with the world? How do you dance that dance?
It's such a good question. And I think that there's a whole spectrum, you know, that goes on where people are reluctant to share themselves on social media, and that's typically because they're not feeling good about themselves. They really don't like themselves. They don't like how they look on camera or how they sound on audio, and so they think that that's not for them. And often their businesses or their careers can't move forward if they're not sharing of their wisdom, and that's what it's about.
Because that's value.
It's value.
Yeah.
And you can't avoid social media these days because it's the way in which you can get out there, get your message out there, get your business out there, get what you do, your passion, your purpose out there. And then, you know, there's the other end of the spectrum where people are oversharing, and it's really abusive, you know.
Do you know what? Funnily enough, here's a true story. A friend of a friend, who shall remain nameless, went to a seminar. I don't even know this person, but I was shown an example of it, right? So I'm not going to name anyone. It's not about that. Good. Of course. But they went to a seminar and they recorded a conversation that they were meant to have privately with someone privately. And they shared that with everyone. And the thing that I said to my wife, I said, you know what? Emotional intimacy is only intimate if it stays intimate for certain conversations, right? So like there is an overshare, isn't there? And I think that's the problem a little bit too much with the convenience of it. It's about having healthy boundaries, but still being you, but yeah, maybe not overcooking or having respect for, you know, certain things that are meant to be one-on-one, for example, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it with the word boundaries. It's about having good boundaries, and often people have nothing, or they have walls up. You know, the wall is, I don't want to share anything of myself because I'm scared of that. I'm scared of the intimacy that it might bring. And the other side is, everyone can come in. I'm an open door, you know, just come and tread all over me. Come and just take everything from me, which is very depleting. It's very exhausting. You know, a lot of my clients exhaust themselves just on social media constantly and forget the reason why they're doing it. And the reason you could be doing it and really should be doing it for your business or for your career, you know, is really to share your message. And it's the message that's key. Now I say, if you don't have a good message, you know, if you don't have something important to share, then understand what that is first before you go to social media. And then share that.
And again, to put a little bit of the business hat on, and this is the alignment and the marriage of the two, you've got personal transformation can be rather liberating, and you want to leap out and go, yippee, this is me, right, to the world.
Yes.
And this is the boundary thing, right? Because
Yes.
you've got to have the yippee, but then when it comes to the message, you've got to realize that you're aligning yourself to give value to your customer, because you are a business, right? And value to a customer is bugger all to do with your yippee somewhat. Do you see what I mean? It's about the value that the customer gets. Absolutely. They want to have a relationship with you because you are authentic. But remember that your message is not just about your yippee personal transformation. It's about what can you give to that customer, which is very much a value in their eyes. Yes,
it's a process. So the yippee moment is vital for your own personal transformation. Then that has to be digested through your life experience. And after that digestion, you create greater wisdom. You're more experienced in life. And it's the wisdom that you share through having had the experience of the light bulb moment and have implemented that into your life. Then you gain wisdom, and it's the wisdom that needs to be shared, not the I'm just realizing this on the moment and it's all crazy messy and it, you know, what is it I'm really sharing?
Exactly. And here's another analogy too, that to really bring that home with the wisdom piece. Wisdom almost equates to competency. So if you think about like a hierarchy, and imagine you want to get a plumber around to fix your toilet, you want the best plumber who's the most competent. And equally in whatever your business thing is, have the yippee, have the transformation, go through the journey, digest it, share the wisdom, because that's also a way of demonstrating to the marketplace competency.
Absolutely. Yeah. And knowing what you're talking about through having lived the experience of it.
Yes.
Understood what changes you need to make on yourself. Then you can understand more clearly what your clients are wanting, what your clients are needing, whether they're customers, clients, students, and you come from a learned place rather than I've just read a book and I'll spout to you some words that I'm not really implementing myself. You know, you have to be walking the talk, really.
Yeah, parrot fashion is not digestion.
No.
Right. Interesting. People have been flocking to spiritual places like India for decades, right? It's very much a thing of, say, the 70s, cliche-wise, the hippie movement or whatever. From a spiritual point of view, what is it about India? Like, I get it, but like, what is it? Like, what you know, what is it? What's the draw there?
Have you ever been to India?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but mostly the cities. I have to say, I haven't gone down the spiritual experience of that yet. Very open to it, but I'm interested to hear, you know, from your perspective, what is it about India?
For me, India has this grace. It has this grace about the whole country. And the consciousness of India is very different to the West. So the culture is very different. And the culture there is one of more wisdom teachings. It's closer to, you know, all the original philosophies and scriptures that came out from the ancients. And it hasn't been westernized in terms of materialism. And people understand there about karma. And they understand that wherever I'm at in my life and whatever I'm experiencing, it's a result of my karma. So they typically are much happier people because they accept their life. They accept what's happening in their life. And they use that teaching of karma, which is simply cause and effect. It's nothing else. It's not about punishment. It's simply cause and effect. If you do something, you'll have a consequence of that. So if you do good, then you'll have a great life. If you don't do so good, then life will be pretty, you'll have lots of drama. So in India, they get that. That's taught to them from a very young age. And they're very connected to their spiritual practices. In any household, you'll see them doing spiritual rituals, and you have Buddhists and Jains and all sorts of spiritual teachings. And spirituality is above religious dogma. It's above religion. So dogma and religion, it has a great place in our society, and it's black and white. And that's necessary for most of the people, and it does a great job. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and it's such a great thing to have in your life. Spirituality is teaching more about the virtues of life: compassion, consideration, patience, steadfastness, courage. These are all teachings that are across all religion, in fact. And that is the mainstay of India. You go to India, that is the mainstay. That's what they're fed as children, and that's in their consciousness as they grow older. So for me, I think that's why when you go to India, people just get it more. They're just onto it more. They have a more awakened consciousness.
Wow. So it's awakened consciousness, but I also hear that it's in the culture. So culture is actively lived. It's in the thread of conversation and interaction and attitude in a lived day-to-day manner.
In a lived, embodied way.
Embodied. That's interesting. And the other thing that, if we use that culture terminology for a second and contrast it to the West, we are at risk, and have been at risk, but I think there's a shift occurring, which I'm very happy about, of it's not my fault, I blame the world. And it's definitely not my responsibility. So there's a contrast there of blame and lack of personal responsibility. We've got to be Neo in the Matrix and take the red pill. And it can be a bitter pill, but it's a very rewarding one to take. Because
it really is.
Because that's where you get it. And I think, thank you so much for that answer, because that nailed it there. It's lived. It's in the consciousness because it's culturalized.
Yes.
In another podcast we were just doing earlier today, was all about what is community, and actually community is something, it's a place you can go to. It's a thing you can experience on a regular basis, right? So if you are doing a puja or a ceremony or whatever it is, because it's lived.
Yeah, it's experienced, it's lived, it's embodied. And community is vital for our growth, for our personal growth, our personal transformation. We need community to support us. It's really important.
In the work that you're doing, what kind of a world do you want to see in your lifetime?
It's a great question. I'd love to see a world where every man and woman is fully awakened to their true nature, that they're eternal beings, and that they become realized in this.
Great.
Simple.
This is just a belief that I have personally, that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience.
Great.
Right. And that's my own personal disclaimer. This is my Chris Hall's personal belief. I'm not telling anyone to think that. But there's a wonderful knowingness within that.
It's so good.
Now, what projects are you working on currently? What's on the road ahead?
I'm currently finishing my book.
Nice.
Yes, so that's happening at the moment. So that's very exciting. About the 9 realizations of how to awaken your soul, how to become more awakened in your life.
Love it.
So that's really exciting.
Do we have a title? Is it the 9 realizations?
The 9 realizations.
Snappy. Love it.
And I'm also working on a feature-length documentary, which is looking at the process of transformation that I take people on when we go on retreat. So I take retreats to different sacred places around the world with groups of people, and even though it's an external journey, what we're really doing is an internal journey of transformation. But we go to sacred places because typically they have much greater energy. It's like going to the epicenter of pure energy, which is why I like taking people to places like India, because the energy there is so more pure. It's pure, it's stronger, it's more potent. And when you're in that energy, it's much easier to look at the mirror. It's just much easier. So those are a couple of things that are going on down the pipeline, and that are keeping me busy and that are very exciting. And you know, it's good to be creative, get that creativity in your business, because that's the thing that will help connect you to your emotional body, your spontaneity, your magnetism. And it's very important for all businesses and people with careers or lives, is to have that element of creativity. So I've got that happening in my business, and wonderful. It's joyful and great collaborations. So hopefully they work out well.
Wow. I mean, and throughout the whole conversation, and I can't thank you enough for this conversation, it's very much an embodiment of passion, purpose, book for this, retreats for this, coaching for this. It's my joy. It's what I'm here to do. And it's like dinging a gong. It's just, it resonates. So it's a beautiful thing. And it's a pleasure to converse with fellow spirited people like yourself. So thank you, Amritt, Anjani. And on a final note, where can people find your work?
You can find my work on www.amritaanjani, AMRITAANJANI.com.
Fantastic. And we'll put the links below in the description. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a joy.
Absolute pleasure.